Okay, in today's video we're going to talk about the two modes or mindsets in the game of soccer, football. Okay, there are two mentalities or mindsets in the game of soccer. The first is when we have the ball, we're in possession. We're going to seek to build and pass, build up the sides, avoid the centers. We try to attack around and generate shots, crosses and shots on goal. That's the mentality of the attack. Building, distributing the ball wide out to the sides, come back into the middle, generate shots. The second mentality is when we don't have the ball, when we're not in possession, when we are defending. Because if I ask a player, when and where does defense begin? Okay, think about that for a second. Well, I like to think about it as when and where is whenever we don't have the ball. Whenever they have the ball and they're in possession, wherever it is, the goalie can have the ball. Whenever they're in possession of the ball, we start defending. Okay? And the attitude, the mindset is totally different from the attack. The mindset for defense is we want it back now. We want to get it back as soon as possible. Within 10 seconds, we want this thing back. We want to get this ball back in our possession. Okay? We want to win it back from their possession. We want to get the ball back as soon within 10 seconds. So that takes a lot of aggressive pressure on them. Okay, we need to apply immediate aggressive pressure. Well, coach, what do you mean by aggressive high pressure? Translate that into practical steps. What do I need to do? All right, well, your job is to apply high pressure, and the way we do it is use a 1-2 staggered approach to getting the ball back. By pressure, I mean literally going up against their players with the ball. You go to them and you poke and you stick. Okay, you poke and you stick. You can even use some shoulder to shoulder to give them some nudge or something to shake them off the ball. But they're not going to be able to play with the ball without pressure and take their time and enjoy life while they have the ball without anybody applying pressure. Because the more time we give them to think and to control the ball, the more dangerous they are. So the mindset is we put instantaneous pressure on them, and we're like terriers that don't give up until we get the ball back. So we're like, So I like to compare it to like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. When we have the ball, we're in possession, life is good. We're Dr. Jekyll. We're in control. We're distributing. We're passing the ball. We're generating crosses and shots. When we don't have the ball, we're Mr. Hyde. We're the crazy guy. We need to get a little crazy when we're on defense, and we need to start, getting really like, we want the ball back, aggressive like terriers. We want to get the ball back right away, and we don't give up until we shake them of the ball. Okay, that is the key concept that you can get from professional coaches. Like, I think one of the best coaches for defense, not necessarily offense. I don't like his offensive strategies. But Klopp from Borussia Dortmund, for example, Jurgen Klopp, he's a little bit of a madman, but his defensive philosophy is first rate, and I think all the other coaches, the professional coaches, try to copy his system and I certainly have taken note of the effectiveness of his defensive strategy, which is basically when we don't have the ball, high pressure. Okay, poke, stick. Give them a little nudge. Don't let them think. Let them know you're there on them. Okay. So in practice, I spoke about the 1-2 punch on defense. The 1-2 punch. By that I mean if we're here on the field and we're defending and we have a nice formation. Remember the basic positioning formation from the first video? Okay, so let's say we're like this, and this is a pretty good defensive formation. Take a look. We got our layers in place. We're supporting each other. We're not too spread out. We're not too concentrated or consolidated. This is great. Okay, so now by 1-2, he's the guy with the ball. Ask yourself, who has the ball? Which blue guy has the ball? Okay, so this is like the blue man group. Okay, just so you know, the blue man group. Get it? Okay. All right. So this guy has the ball. The guy who's nearest, the player with the ball, that would be this guy, this red player. He applies high pressure immediately. He's the nearest guy. Boom, he's on him. Stick, poke. I'm not going to let you get the ball. I'm not going to let you think. I'm not going to let you settle. I'm not going to let you control. I'm going to apply high pressure to you. If I have to give you a little bump, good. We'll do it. We'll do it. We have to shake him. All right. All right, so this guy like reads this play, and he's like, okay, well, maybe I'll just dribble on the outside and take him on the outside. Well, guess what? We have a number 2 player here and a number 3 player ready if he should beat number 1. Number 1, again, is the guy who's closest, second closest, third closest. These 3 players are critical to winning the ball back. So let's say number 1 pokes and sticks and he slips and he comes by and he's got, oh, okay, well, who's number 2? Well, it's going to probably be, I would say, this guy. This guy comes in and he recognizes that there's this open space of vulnerability. So this player is going to slide back and cover for him. So he becomes number 1, he becomes number 2, and this guy gets up and comes back and helps also. You see that? So now we have 1, 2, 3, and possibly 4. This is ideal. This is perfect. And this guy now applies high pressure. Poke, stick, nudge, poke, stick, slide in, stick, go for the ball, don't go for the man, go for the ball, nudge it out, shake him of the ball. Oh, okay, he poked it, now he's got it. Guess what? Now he's on a breakaway. He can turn the corner and go to goal and shoot on goal. That's phenomenal. And that's exactly what we want. And as soon as we win the ball back, guess what? We become Dr. Jekyll, not Mr. Hyde. We shift into settle, control, possession, go to the ball, drive to the goal. Okay, so now, as soon as we get the ball, we start moving forward, like so. Okay? We start breaking, make sure you're not offside. By the way, if you pass the second to last defenseman on the attack, okay, just a quick note on offside here, as long as this player or the supporting players that are coming in stay behind the ball, they're not offside. It's no longer the second to last defenseman who's relevant for the offside call. So if you see your player on a breakaway coming in and you go ahead of the ball for a pass to shoot, that's offside. Because when the pass was made, you were ahead of the ball. But if you stay even with the ball or behind the ball, you're not offside. Or this player can do the same thing. Okay? So now if you pass the ball over to shoot on goal, that's not offside because when the pass was made, this player was behind or even with the ball. So if you're on a breakaway and you pass the second to last defender, in this case this player, you no longer look at the second last defender, you look at the ball as a linesman, okay? And this linesman is running this line to watch this. Okay, so to recap, 2 basic philosophies. We have the Dr. Jekyll, control the ball, build, distribute, try to get passes out to the sides, cross the ball in, dribble in for shots on goal. That's the Dr. Jekyll methodology on the attack, when we possess the ball, when we have the ball. Okay? And on the defense is when defense begins when and where. When we don't have the ball, wherever they have the ball, that's when defense begins. Okay, and in that situation, we apply high pressure 1 and 2 immediately. 1, 2, and 3. Get ready in sequential order. 1, 2, and 3. Ready to go in case number 1 gets beaten. Well, then he comes in. We slide over. Number 2. This guy becomes number 1. 1, 2, and this guy should come back and help. Okay. Now we're ready to go. Remember that we move together up and down the field if he beats this guy and this guy comes out wide, well then he has to go ball for number one pressure. He has to race back and he has to come back and fill the void. So now, and of course he comes back to help like this. Now we're cooking. All right. We have a line of defense here. We don't want to move back too far, because if we do that, we give them onside ability. We want to keep them within as tight a line of defense as we can. We don't want to give them the space. We don't want to retreat too far, because then they can push into this area without being offside. We want them to be offside if they decide to jump the gun like this. The pass comes through here, that's offside. Because this player, when the pass was made by this player into this zone, this player was ahead of the second to last defenders. Okay? So by keeping a high line of defense, we are preventing them from penetrating. Okay? And don't worry if the ball comes into here and we're going to run it down. We're going to chase this, like either this or like this. And everybody comes back, and everybody comes back like so. Okay? This guy comes back here. All right, we'll start over again. And when we have the ball, we win it back, then we start to build. Okay? So we win the ball back. Okay, here. We win the ball back, comes out, work the ball up the sidelines and out. I don't want to go into the center area. This area here, let me get my zone. I don't want to build out of the back into this area. Okay? This is a dangerous area because there's high concentration. There's traffic. There's too much traffic here. We want to build up, when we win the ball back, we want to work it up the sidelines and ideally into these two zones. Okay, we want to work the ball up the sidelines. We pass, we dribble into space, we attack the space, we move up, and we penetrate this area. We also want to avoid this area because it's also loaded with defenders. Okay, these guys are coming back and they're retreating. Okay, so where's the opening? It's in this area. Okay. So if you pass the ball, if you have the ball in this area, this is one of the things, pass the ball into this zone here. We'll cover that in another video. But the two basic concepts I want to go over here is the Jekyll and Hyde two mindsets of the game philosophy of the game. That's how that's how I would strongly recommend that we as a team begin to think as players between those two mindsets. Okay? So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video. We're going to talk about how to transition from the back and goal kick setups. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.